Hey, what's going on? This is Shane's Views, June the 13th, 2025. Just to let you guys know, I do record the date, the exact date that I'm saying I'm recording. Sometimes I release that date, like I may release this today, I may release this in a couple of days, but I always want to provide the exact date that I'm actually going live, whether I do release or that I'm recording live, I should say, whether I release that day or I release a couple of days later. But just to let you know, so we're at June 13th, 2025. So I want to start this off with this was a story I wanted to get to last week. I totally forgot to touch up on it. So we had two Chinese scientists that were charged in the state of Michigan. They were charged with attempting to smuggle in toxic fungus. So it just shows we got, people that continue to try to come into this country, bringing bad shit, drugs, all kinds of shit. This happens to be fungus, but there's things that can hurt people. So it's good that they were caught and charged. This happens too much. Another reason why the borders need to be closed, preventing people from other places coming in illegally. Like, we have been going over for a long time on this show, and it's it's a major problem. So it's good that these two were caught, and hopefully going forward, all these people that are trying to smuggle in drugs or whatever, anything that's bad, needs, hopefully they're caught and prosecuted as well. So these two were charged. We'll see what comes about it. Hopefully prosecution. We had Abrego Garcia, who was deported. He's coming back now to the United States to face charges. Basically, this is scum of the earth. This is ICE doing their job, but this is another member of an illegal corruption that's going on in this country, and he was charged involving minors and smuggling in women and children, over 100 trips he's been charged with. So this guy, scum of the earth, little kids involved, innocent women involved, innocent kids. So he's back in this country to face charges. Of course, the Democrats tried to pledge for him. It's another form of their insane campaign strategy to basically go batshit crazy and basically go for everything opposite, even if it's what's right, which is what it's supposed to be, no matter what political party you're with. But they'll pledge for the wrong things, criminal acts, just to go opposite of correct acts that the Trump administration is trying to, employ and install in this country. So they're basically saying, that he's charged with this. Let's see what comes about it. Of course, if he's found guilty, some say, yeah, well, we of course will, approve of the charges. But right now, you're accusing him of all this stuff. There's no, they're saying, a lot of the Democrats, no evidence, blah, blah, blah. So I'm sure that this guy will be charged. Okay. Scum. And this is the problems that we have in this country. Just too many people trying to come in. I might as well just go straight to the LA riots, okay, from this, because this is where we have these funded, riots, protests, slash protests. This is what they want to try to make it as, is that they're doing legal protesting, but they're not. They're burning police cars, they're assaulting cops, they're assaulting ICE agents, and then you have Democrat-based politicians coming on television, Maxine Waters and AOC and Eric Swalwell and all this trash, and trying to say, oh no, they didn't do anything. They didn't cause any violent disturbances. This is the Trump administration, and this is ICE starting this, blah blah blah. I mean, give me a break, bro. This again, this is what I just said. You have these people could give two shits. Trust me, they could give two shits. They know that illegal immigrants are wrong for this country, but their strategy is let's stick up for the illegals and then hopefully we'll get votes from say Hispanics or any other ethnicity that their people are, being labeled and caught as immigrants and being deported out with their, their family members might go with them. They may have to stay here, whatever. You're splitting families up, whatever. They hope that by sticking by that, by sticking up for illegal immigrants, that will actually get them votes, because they know they can't steal the election anymore, because that happened once and it will be proven, like I always say, and it will not happen again. As you saw this last election, they may have tried, obviously, keeping those borders open to allow illegal immigrants in, hoping that they would get the votes, but the ground game was prepared and wasn't going to happen and not going to happen going forward. So again, these people, their party, will stick to these batshit crazy policies where everybody should be the same. Okay, illegal immigration is wrong. We understand some illegal immigrants, they're good people. We're not saying they're all bad people. It's the many that are bad people that come in, they fucking rape, they kill, they rob. The good ones, they come in, they want to work, they've been here for years. Maybe they're found illegal and then you're deporting them and then you're separating them from their kids or their wives. I understand. I get it. But it's not, again, the Trump law. This is the Constitution of this country. The United States of America states that illegal immigrants cannot come into this country. You have to be legal. We're okay with you coming from other countries. You just have to come through the legal process. And it's sorry if it takes a long time. It may take years sometimes, whatever. It's the way the law states. So Trump is just enforcing the Constitution. He's not making up his own fucking laws. It's very sick. It's very sick. And a lot of their base will pledge for it and stick up for it. It's crazy. So we had, a lot of people, they did this with, with the George Floyd incident. They've done this where they have supposedly, there is a name that's attached to this. Neville Singham is supposedly accused of funding these major rally protests / riots. So that protests that turn into riots. You have a bunch of many agitators there. They hope to influence people that are not agitators to come and join them in looting places, hurting people, fucking, setting things on fire, setting businesses on fire, setting police cars on fire. And look, I'm all about good policing. So I'm the first one to call out bad cops. I'm very against pig cops. Just like I'm against any kind of bad people. Just like all the corruption going on right now in the government, sadly, with mostly the Democratic Party. But when you have cops that are doing their job, that are trying to protect a state, a city, innocent human beings from bad things, I stick by that all day. And you have, sadly, incident in California, but it's spread, of course, New York, Texas. Now it's even come to certain parts of Florida. It's going all over the place again. They're trying to start these things. Of course, the biggest were California was the biggest, and then probably New York, Texas, and then we'll see, how big it gets in some of these other states. But it's all the same shit, so I think, look, if you're protesting and you want to do that with your day, okay, and you're doing it by the law and you're not causing any type of harm or you're not, wrecking things and stuff like that, okay. But like I said, most people are not going to do that. They're just not, unless they're being funded. And that's what you have here. You have a bunch of agitators that are being funded, and it might be from this individual, Neville Singham. I'm not sure, but his name was attached to it. You have different people on the Republican side that are stating his name. So we'll see what comes about. So anyway, of course, Gavin Newsom, he's got to live up with, sticking up for, the state of California. Trump went and he sent in National Guards, he sent in Marines for the right reasons, because he saw what was brewing and he wasn't going to let it happen. So then you have Newsom saying he doesn't have the rights. We have judges, Charles Breyer, that came in and said, oh, Trump can't do this. The National Guard is going to return to Newsom's authority. And then that basically was appealed, and that's not happening. And it's just not going to happen. You're going to have like these judges that are trying to step in the way of Trump continuously. These are funded, corrupted judges. These judges need to be put out of business. They need to be out of their field of being a judge. They need to be fired and never allowed to be judges again, because it's just like in anything else. I've always said there's corrupt everything. So sadly, corrupted judges will try to block Trump from installing National Guards, Marines, whatever the case may be. At the end of the day, Trump wins. Trump will win. So of course, Newsom is trying to set his sights for running for president. So we'll see what happens. I mean, Newsom, he tried to play like he was coming closer to the middle. Now he's going back to the far left approach. So, make your mind up, bro. It's not good. And again, there's just so many illegal politicians. It's getting old. It really is. And we need to clean it up and have good people in that are not trying to steal money and making their salary that they swore under oath that they were okay with that salary because they want to help the United States of America get stronger, not be globalists and basically, do deals and money launder with other countries so they can make more money. And that's sadly what it's become. So, anyway, we'll go on to the next subject. We had Donald Trump showed up at the UFC event, number 316, this past Saturday in Newark. Of course, the crowd, they love Trump like always, standing ovation, lots of handshakes, lots of smiles, fighters paying respect, all love for President Trump. We've got, I'll touch on this. I'm going to go to something else right now. We have Donald Trump was in Fort Bragg speaking to the soldiers. He was speaking to families, had a rally there, and at that rally announced that forts that had their original names taken away from the Biden administration will have those names restored. Fort A.P. Hill, Pickett, Robert E. Lee, Gordon, Hood, Polk, and Rucker. All those forts will be restored to these original names. The Biden administration trying to come in and change the names of these forts to other names like fucking idiots like they are for whatever, for, of course, political reasons and this and that and whatever. And Trump restored all the names of these forts, including Bragg. The soldiers, very happy to see him. They joined him in the dance party when the music played from the Village People and the YMCA, and the crowd was having a good time. And that was a great event. And that will be, then we will go to another event, which is going to be tomorrow, June the 14th, in D.C. And basically, Trump is going to have a parade. It's for the military and for his birthday celebration combined. So it will be celebrating the Army's 250th birthday, okay, and President Trump's 79th birthday. So the media, the legacy media has been trying to say, they're trying to curse the parade, saying, oh yeah, there's supposed to be all kinds of bad weather, chance of a lot of rain, and it might rain it out and blah, blah, blah. I don't think that's going to happen, okay? I don't think that's going to happen at all. And Trump said if anybody wants to come in and do their agitating bullshit at this event, it's going to be handled very seriously. So think wisely, Antifa and all you losers, all you funded losers that are okay with causing chaos. Think about what you're doing before you go to this rally for President Trump. If you're going to cause, violence and problems and start fucking with people, and it's just not going to happen. So in conjunction with that, we have, they have these other idiots that are coming out, and they're basically they're going to have their own rallies, June the 14th also, no King's Day rallies, which is going against President Trump because they're calling him a king, which he's not. He's the president of the United States, but they're trying to say he's a king, and we have no kings. and we don't bow down to kings. So you're gonna have all these rallies and shit in different fucking states all over different cities, and they're gonna try to go against his celebration, and they're gonna basically say he's trying to be a king and blah blah blah, and he's a bad guy, and yeah, okay. So anyway, fuck No King's Day, and all for President Trump, happy birthday, and to our army. I mean, 250 years, that's a long fucking time, bro. And we're going strong, and we have the strongest military in this world. Where else do we want to go from here? We'll talk about Riley Gaines and Simone Biles. There was an altercation where Simone Biles kind of came on and got into it with Riley Gaines, and she said, well, Riley, you look like a man, and you're against men and, women's sports, blah, blah, blah. And, you should just stay out of, keep into your own business and this and that. So she came with personal insults. Riley played it cool. She didn't really say much. And then, of course, Simone comes out a few days later and changes her whole tune and says, she's sorry about insulting Riley and, this and that. And, of course, because she was getting bad backlash. Why are you going to sit there and defend men performing in women's sports when you are a woman performing in a woman's sport as a gymnast and as an Olympian? And just try to be on that side and try to appeal to that side. And then, of course, a lot of your fans are not about that. And men competing in women's sports, so they let you know, and obviously you came back with a different tune. So typical, you know what I'm saying? Typical shit. We'll go on to RFK Jr. He fired all 17 members of the CDC Vaccine Advisory Board. I would say, obviously, with COVID and all the other shit, with all these vaccines that have been found of causing heart problems and killing people, that's a good move. We need real advisors, real doctors, people leading people in the correct direction. If you're going to make a vaccine, make it to where it's not actually killing people from from sudden heart attacks, especially younger people. Terry Moran, Deep State Media, was fired by ABC. Wow, ABC making a good move. ABC trying to realizing that they are appealing to the too far left, and they want to somewhat be rational again. So they get rid of a Trump hater, like he did an interview with Trump a few weeks ago. These people like him, Caitlin Collins, they just try to agitate President Trump. They try to say a lot of fake stuff. They try to get under his skin. And anyway, he was fired for that. So Terry Moran, fuck you. It's good that you were fired. And I saw he's starting some other endeavor somewhere. I don't know, his own website or some shit. He could go fuck himself. Nobody cares. Nobody will watch this loser. And that's that. So the FBI, the Sotira Shield in Texas, it was an operation, and 244 alleged child predators were arrested, and it rescued 109 innocent children. You can't say enough good about that. Taking out child predators, rescuing these kids that have been held by these predators, abused, who knows what happened. So bad things. So it's good. This is a great thing. And the FBI doing great things. ICE doing great things. So got to keep it going. Also, Elon apologizes to President Trump. Kind of figured that was going to happen. Still not sure if this is more of a fake, like me being mad at you type of thing. But either way, I think there was some beef there with Elon on Trump. I don't know. Elon, I just think, felt that he deserves more pull in the administration. And, he did invest a lot of money into that campaign. So I understand. But there's only one president, Elon. And Elon said a lot of the things he said were off base. And, he said it out of anger. Maybe he was on something. Who knows? But he apologized, and they talked, I think, this past Monday. Trump didn't say that much about it, that he totally accepted the apology or anything, but that they did talk. And, it's over a few things. It's over the big, beautiful bill. It's over EV mandates that would hurt his electric sales for his Teslas. where he would lose money. So I mean, I get it, but you know, he didn't have to do it like that, you know. So hopefully, I really think those guys are good. Like I said the last episode, I think they're very close, and hopefully, good things ahead with President Trump and Elon. Also, music legend Brian Wilson, original singer of the Beach Boys, passed away at 82 years old. He's been battling, I believe, I think it's dementia, or Alzheimer's, I believe, for a while. So he hasn't been touring, and so I'm not sure the exact way he died, but he did pass away yesterday. Or no, it was 2 days ago, I believe. So 82 years old. I met Brian Wilson a few times, got him to sign some stuff. He was an okay guy, some of his management people weren't the nicest, but he was an okay guy. So I am into autographs, so I do, chase sometimes, higher end celebrities. So it was cool running across Brian Wilson several times in my life. And sadly, didn't get a picture with him. Probably could have one of the times. He wasn't the easiest picture with. I didn't like taking pictures much, but I think the one time I could have, and I just didn't because I was trying to push autographs on him. So anyway, rest in peace to Brian Wilson. Rand Paul, Republican senator. So he's bitching and moaning the other day that President Trump said, well, he didn't clarify it was President Trump. He said it's just could be members of the administration that basically said he was not invited to the White House picnic, the yearly picnic. And he was very offended because he wanted to bring, I think, his grandkids and his wife and his, So President Trump says, no, he's invited. He's invited. Everybody's invited. Even the Dems that are hating on Trump, that are always smearing him and lying. So Rand, it's okay, bro. Just get on board with the big, beautiful bill and, let's go. So that's just, you can go, man. You bring the family and everything will be okay. So also, Greta Thunberg, I hate this girl. She's just one of these fucking hacks that's, goes to all these different countries and she's, protesting this and that and all this bullshit. So anyway, she was deported from Israel because she's over there, basically promoting Gaza. So they said, adios, you're deported from here. You can't be in Israel. So now she's supposedly in France doing her bullshit. Hopefully, don't come to this country anymore. We don't need you here, Greta. You're a little piece of shit trash. So that's that. Then California Senator Alex Padilla yesterday in California. Kristi Noem's having a press conference touching up on, everything that's going on there, the riots, deportation. So this guy wants to go there and, of course, the Dems are telling you, oh, she knew who he was. And, he said who he was. And no, he didn't. He went in there unannounced. And he basically tried to start, making his way toward the podium where she was, demanding that she would answer certain questions. And they told him to back off, and he wouldn't. And then basically, he was taken down by the police. There's video of it. He was handcuffed. Eventually, he went and supposedly had a meeting with Kristi Noem. I think it was 20 minutes. Said they were on the same page or whatever after the meeting. But then he comes out and he does a press conference and he cries that he was mistreated and manhandled and he's a senator and blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter what you are, man. If you're not obeying by the rules, if you just come in and think you could just fucking stampede up to, somebody of importance like Kristi Noem, when people are threatening and, making death threats and all this shit, and they don't know exactly even who the fuck you are. And you got the Dems, of course, saying, oh, yeah, he was mistreated and these officers need to be fired and Kristi Noem needs to resign and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I thought it was a great piece of video footage. I laughed my ass off. So do it right, man. Do it right. Don't be a corrupt fuck like the majority of your, sadly, of your base. The Democratic base is right now. I think that's about it. And now we're going to just touch up on, Israel going in and bombing the shit out of Iran last night. And according to Marco Rubio, the United States, we were not involved. We had nothing to do with that attack. Basically, we weren't telling Israel to do it. Netanyahu, he went in, he bombed a bunch of shit, because they don't want to ever see, there's always been the rumor of Israel getting nuclear weapon, and nobody wants to see that happen because they think Israel is really wanting to release a nuclear weapon if they get one, and harm a lot of people. So they went and they bombed a lot of bases, buildings. So basically, a lot of higher ups in the Israel military were killed. General Mohammed Bashiri, General Amir Ali Hashizada, General Hassin Salami, Lieutenant General Golamali Rashid, then Firidan Abbasi, Mohammed Mehdi Taranchi, and Ali Shamkhani. Wow, man, those are some names. So those were a lot of higher ups from Israel that were killed in these bombings. And of course, Israel, they're releasing missiles supposedly in retaliation. They're saying, Israel and the United States are going to pay consequences. Look, I'm all about world peace, okay? And, I don't see why all this shit happens, why all these crazy killings happen, and why people just hate people because they're a certain race or an ethnicity or a religion. It's fucking crazy. It really is. So I do understand why this was done. The same reason I understand why Russia is doing what they're doing with Ukraine, because the Ukrainian government is poison. And a lot of people sadly don't realize that yet, but they will. But anyway, end to all war is the main solution. And President Trump said, hey, this may work out a deal where Israel wants to really get this done, where there's a peace agreement, like, because of these bombings. I don't know. But they're not saying that. They're obviously saying that they're going to retaliate, but we'll see what happens. But anyway, not much to touch up on there, except, you don't want to see this go to another, like a big war, especially where the United States has to be involved. So I'm all for no war. I'm for all peace. A little bit of tension is okay, but not where it's killing people, especially innocent people. Bad people need to be, handled, arrested, taken out, whatever. I'm not about bad people, but, definitely not wanting to see innocent people get harmed. Then let's see, what else do we got? I think that's all for this week. As far as world news, yes, that's it. So I'm going to go and touch on sports a little bit. So we got both finals going on. We have NHL finals. We have Edmonton and Florida Panthers now tied at 2. Edmonton won last night in overtime to send it to Game 5, tied at 2. The OKC and Indiana series in the NBA finals is 2-1 lead for Indiana, which I cannot believe. I thought Indiana might get 1. They've gotten 2. And OKC better win tonight, because if they get down 3-1, that might be a problem. So I thought OKC was going to beat Indiana handedly. I do think Edmonton's going to win this series. I said from the start of it, but the Florida Panthers have a really good team. So, this is I didn't think this would be like a cupcake series or anything. Like, I thought this would be a tougher series. We'll see what happens. I mean, Florida, they got a chance. It's 2-2. We'll see what happens. Football, no, you got more of the same stuff. Raiders, I think they're maybe just wrapping up camp. Like, they've been in a lot of non-mandatory camps going on. I think this week might have been an actual mandatory camp, but regular training camp starts in July, probably like the middle of July or going toward the end of July. So it'll be football season before you know it. Like I said, the last episode, I am excited. NBA, NHL drafts, Bulls, Blackhawks got to get better, obviously. Hopefully some more, good draft picks, good additions in free agency or trade or whatever. And I think both teams are pretty close. As bad as the Blackhawks record was last year, it was like, still, they're not. It's a lot of it was just the younger guys that we expected to be up, longer, like at the beginning of the season. and a lot of them weren't called up until the end. There were some trades made as the season was going on, and then they started playing better. So I think both teams are the Bulls, they got in the play-in again. They got knocked out, but by the shitty Heat, who then got dismantled. But look, hopefully good things ahead for both of my teams, my hockey, my basketball team. The Yankees still in first place by 4.5 games in the American League East over Toronto. They start another 3-game series tonight with Boston, where last weekend they lost 2 out of 3 to Boston. Can't have that happen. Got to make up for it. Got to pay Boston back. Got to try to win every game. Got about like 95 left or 94 left. 4.5. I mean, it was like, I think, a 7-game lead or a 7.5-game lead a couple weeks ago. So it's going down a little bit. You want it to stay in that area. So 4.5, not too bad. It's a decent lead, but you want to build it up as much as you possibly can. Giancarlo Stanton, I'm not sure as of this video if he's coming back tonight or this weekend, but he's been rehabbing in Somerset, AA for the Yankees. He's due back any day. So Giancarlo will be coming back. Luis Hill at some point to help the starting rotation. And then, there might be a couple trades along the way. We'll see what happens, or call-ups or whatever. I think most of the team's intact and they're played pretty well, but still some of these low-scoring games, like they won last night to finish off the sweep in Kansas City. They swept Kansas City 3 games, 1-0. So they've had 4 1-0 games this year that they've won. It's great that they won, but I mean, 1 run and you had you had to have that your pitchers had those shutouts. I mean, those could have been 2-1 losses. I always look at it the other way. So got to do better than 1 run. Even though we had some of the starters sitting last night, got to do better than 1 run. Anyway, that's it for this episode. I'll be back next week, and we'll touch on more world news and more sports. And that's it. The greatest President Trump, the greatest world president in history, making America great again, making the world great again. I'll see you next time.